IFA is actually spiritual science, and it's mostly practiced amongst the Nigerians and the people in Benin.
So you can align your present goal with what is to come.
IFA is actually a spiritual science,
and it is also a system actually designed to to understand one's destiny. Hi everyone, it's another segment of religious belief on Myblak, and you might be wondering why we are switching seats today, and I'm taking Assurance position.
Why must you always? It's not necessary.
So it basically means that we are co-hosts. Doesn't mean that there is a real, host and there is an assistant host.
No, now we are co.
I
people said it in the last segment that we are co-hosts. I did not say I'm senior host, I be a junior host.
Alright, so the last time we basically talk about the voodoo religion that is practiced among the Benin, Togo, and some part of West Africa. And today we'll bring you an amazing scoop of what's actually being practiced, same in West Africa, talking about Nigeria, most especially. And yes, we are talking about the IFA religion, the IFA. So whenever you see a particular religion wearing white, with their white abitiaja cap and danshiki
and those cowries
and wearing all of those
white
beads and the whole thing, those guys are all white. I usually jealous
and now they used to look like most high.
Yeah, because I basically love white anyways. So today we'll be diving in what IFA is. So what do you think when you probably hear the word IFA?
Well, IFA is actually a spiritual science. Yes, hold that word that I just said, spiritual science.
Wow. Because
people are just like our tradition and religion of time past is not actually necessary. I've actually heard a story that there are many things when it comes to mathematics and stuff like that it was actually originated from this IFA stuff, because they say they have this okbele something, and let's save that one for later. But then IFA is actually spiritual science, and it's mostly practiced amongst the Nigerians and the people in Benin. So majorly all these people, they like to practice IFA.
Yeah, and it is also a system actually designed to understand one's destiny. So before people will misunderstand it to be like a fortune telling or prediction. It's not something like that. It is just something to give you a glimpse of what your future is or your destiny. So you can align your present goal with what is to come.
Exactly. Like in those days, see all those mama, they'll carry their children to this IFA place. They say, I'm a fair baby, I don't let me displace myself. They will ask.
They want to know their Ayamo. It's called destiny. It's called
Ayamo.
Or Ikosejaye.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So you see, they take their children to those IFA, and from there they will use whatever thing they get from there to face the parts that the child is going to go through in life.
Moving on, we want to know the core, the core foundation of the IFA religion, which basically is coordinated by Orunmila, himself with God. Basically, one of these days we talk about some of these, these African gods and all of those things, but then that is not a meeting for today. So we want to know, they feel like Orunmila is the center of the center figure for the IFA religion. So I wanted to give a breakdown glimpse of what this is, how they use it, how they consult IFA and all of those things for knowing destiny.
Okay, so I'll go back to Orunmila. Orunmila is actually a god of wisdom in Yoruba. If you are a Yoruba person, you'll be very familiar with Orunmila. If you did Yoruba in secondary school and primary school, you will know Orunmila. So they actually just do these things with, it's like unlike written scriptures, there are religions that they have everything that they do scripted and stuff like that. But in the case of IFA, it is actually spoken words. They speak things into existence. They speak things, they memorize verses, ritual knowledge and stuff like that is what they bring together to consult, to make IFA. And there is this thing called the Okbele. And the 256, that thing in front of it, let me to pronounce the Odu IFA, yes, that's it.
It's called Odu.
God, I don't like
Yoruba from Yoruba tribe. Imagine me that I'm not Yoruba, so I know some of this.
Babalaya? Okay.
Stop, don't loud it.
So there's this 256 Odrifa that it's actually like something that has a lot of reality. I don't want to say prophetic words, but then it has a lot of things that actually helps them when they consult Ifa, and then Orunmila, the god of wisdom, tells them this is how the child's life is going to go, this is what to expect, and what have you. And I want you to note that it is not basically only to know the destiny of your child. Like, you can have a business, you can have things doing, and if things are not going fine, you can go and consult Ifa, and they'll tell you this is what is going on, this is what you should do, this is how it should go. And
so I think from my little knowledge of some of these things, I hope this knowledge doesn't make me an Ifa priest.
okay.
So apparently the okbele, which is made up of of palm kernels, and some is just the strings of palm kernels. They just say something to it, and say Iwaju Ifa,
Iwaju Ọpọ́n Ifá, Ẹ̀yìn Ọpọ́n Ifá, Olùmọ̀ràn tún
so they drop it. So I feel like the old Odu Ifa, like you said, are like 256.
Yes.
So the 256 Odu Ifa basically means shapes of that of that string. So once you drop it, there's a particular shape it brings. Once a particular side is facing north, south, east, like I said, like we said, it's a science. It's not as if they are hearing, like all of these things are knowledge. So all of these shapes actually represent any of the 256 256 Odifa. So basically, once you pick a particular shape, and each of those shapes actually has like 100 verses of
a lot of
chant
things.
And all of those. So it's just a whole knowledge on its own, and it has different categories that cut across every sector of life. Talking about in marriage, talking about in destiny, in business, in farming,
even health,
and and even global, the environmental.
Yes, when you talk about technology, when you talk about mathematics,
it's a whole lot of this. That is why you could see in university nowadays that they study IFA, because it's a whole lot of science on its own.
And it was even said that these okbele things, they were used to build computers. Like when computers were being built in those days, like it was part of the things that they put together. Like there's a way it's arranged and all those addition and all the stuff.
Moving on to how it basically works, who makes divination, because I feel like that's a whole lot of work. It's common among the Yoruba that the person that actually consults the Ifa uses all of those practices. They are called Babalawo.
Yes.
But then nowadays we feel like Babalawo is someone that is dangerous. The Igbo people call the Azamadia. They feel like if you want to do bad and all of this, you go to Babalawo. But then I feel like the Babalawo, the roots were the beginning of where Babalawo started from. Was from consulting Ifa and Ifa and all of those things, and I feel like that's a very, very hard task, because having to know 256 with Ifa,
and it's not like one of those stuffs. They have a lot of things. It is really spiritual science. Because if it's not spiritual,
because for you to be able to retain so much knowledge from as far back as the 1700s, trying to hold it down to this particular generation. But now it's now easy, because you can now replicate those things. They are now in books. Before now, they don't have it in books, and you can now read it. You can now study it as a course. Not even in Nigeria alone. Study it as a course all around, and still celebrate some of the festival. I think it's such an amazing, amazing religion.
Very, very amazing.
So here is a big misconception about some of these things. It's like a misunderstanding of it. Is Ifa a fortune teller? Or the way he operates, he looks like a fortune teller? What can you say about that? Does he really predict the future or what?
It's actually not a fortune teller. This religion is more or less like giving insights, giving you foresight to what to expect from your future. So when you even see like, okay, this is what Ifa is saying, you yourself, you already know that this is how you're supposed to live your life. You're not going to be living your life in part Y, when Ifa is saying your life should go in part Z. So it's more or less like gives insight, gives you a pattern to follow. like destiny pattern to follow in your life and how to go about things. And Yoruba people call it ayomo, ikosejaye, like how he said it earlier.
But then I feel like there is so much wisdom to actually be learnt in that, you know, when Ifa actually gives you a particular glimpse of what, you know, your destiny should be. It's now left for you to, you know, to make sure that you craft a system such that you'll be able to fulfill that destiny.
Exactly.
Because I think I heard a story about some two set of people that, you know, they consulted, you know, the gods, and they said that one is going to be rich, one was not going to be rich. And meanwhile, the one that was supposed to be rich,
it was the one that became poor, and the one that was supposed to be poor was the one that became rich.
The reason why it became like that is that the person that was supposed to be rich actually just went to, you know, to relax himself.
Like, if I said I'm going to be rich,
anyhow, was not making any progress, not filling up any business, any resources. He's just expecting that he just wake up rich
one day and the riches will just come in front of himself. Wow, if that's the day, this is the riches.
I feel like the whole Ifa thing, the Babalawo thing, gets, you know, give them the wisdom behind some of these dreams. Ifa said we are going to do this on a particular day, but then there's a wisdom behind, you know, achieving it. Ifa cannot reveal that part to you.
Exactly.
We just show you that this is a glimpse of what you should look like. It's not left for you to, you know, to
work towards it.
Yeah, I'm not saying you should consult Ifa, I'm just giving you insights.
Far back in 2005, UNESCO actually recognized Ifa as an intangible, you know, heritage to humanity. And for the fact that UNESCO even recognized Ifa as a religion, you should know that it is not a joke. Like, this is serious business. For a whole UNESCO to recognize Ifa as a religion and heritage for humanity, you should know that this religion is actually one that really like adds a lot of things when it comes to human life and human perspective towards a lot of things.
Because trust me, it's actually fascinating.
Yes.
It's a fascinating culture, it's a fascinating religion. Call it whatsoever, culture, religion, or whatever it is you want to call it. But then it's actually quite fascinating because, like we said, it's a whole lot of science.
Yes.
It's a whole lot of broad amount of, you know, of knowledge to use. You can just pick up, you know, or pick up learning Ifa and all of that. I think one of these I have an idea. Basically, I just put it out there on online learning. You want to learn about.
Seems like at this point, Sam should be called Sam the Explorer because it's like you want to explore everything.
I just love knowledge. I'm a knowledge monk. I don't mind it. So it's been an amazing one, actually. You know, having to talk about the culture or the religion of, you know, of Ifa itself, which is a science on its own with amazing knowledge, you know, to learn about. And we will definitely bring up some of the biggest part of, you know, we're going to explore all of Africa, bring out some of these religions, bring out some of this culture, and, you know, and talk about it a whole lot. It's not just Christianity and Muslim religion that
we have a lot of religion,
a whole lot of religion, actually. So please want to, you know, to like, comment, share with your friends, because on Myblak here we're going to be doing amazing things. So check us out on Myblak Africa, where we get to, you know, to bring you amazing content on the African continent as a whole. So till next time, bye.